What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Payne. Welcome back to another Tower of God New World video. Alright guys, real quick, want to just say a big thank you to all of the participants and commenters in the new tier list update. I have to say, there's been a lot of really good commentary back and forth and discussion about the actual tier list and placements of a lot of the characters. One thing though I'm finding, and it's actually a little bit of a surprise, is the amount of hate Hatz gets for being a top DPS. And I want to kind of just talk about Hatz as a character altogether and give you my perspective on it, okay? So I've been able to luckily have the privilege of running two accounts. I've got the free-to-play one here, and I've got my buddy Terrorizer, who actually spent about $1,000. Now, he's not spending anymore. He realizes that a lot of this game can be done free-to-play through my example. He is now actually further ahead than I am. I haven't had a chance to really play it all today, but I do want to talk about his first initial take with Hatz, and then my initial take with Hatz, and then how we perceive him. Okay, so I know there's this concept of Hatz needs to have fully maxed out dupes in order to really shine. Now I'm gonna just stop everybody there for that one. I don't think that's necessarily true. Okay, so if you look here at my Hatz, okay, I've only got him to red 2, and if you look at where that kind of takes him, right, in terms of the pocket limit break. Here we go, pocket certificate. It only gives him the 40 defense. He's not even at the point of yellow yet where he gets an extra 40% more HP and does 50% more damage against purple. He's only halfway there, right? So with the halfway there mark, my Hatz is still the only unit that survives at the end, period. And there's a couple reasons behind this, okay? And I think people have this misconception of Hatz because when you first get him, you're absolutely right. The guy is squishy as hell. Now, when I made this free-to-play tier list, I'm under the assumption that if you're going to main Hatz, you're most likely going to try to get his dupes, right? And the same goes for Wagner. Now, a lot of people were like, well, Payne, if you max out his Wagner Jaw's exclusive weapon, then he's unstoppable. And listen, I'm not disagreeing with that, but as a free-to-play, let's be real. You're not maxing this out anytime soon, right? For the swiftness part. Like, to get to here is going to take you some time as a free-to-play. It's not going to be a overnight day. Like, look at this. I've got my Hatz just at +9, and I've been at this since early launch, right? Because I unfortunately made some mistakes along the way. I put a lot of exclusive weapons on other characters where I should have really focused on one, and I made a whole video on how to focus on exclusive weapons and who to focus on. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. What makes Hatz a really good DPS outside of comparing it to Wagner Jaw or comparing it to Endorsi or comparing it to like Huayun? I'm not going to compare it to. She's a different, although she is DPS, she also is really mainly a support, right? But I mean, comparing it to like Evan Kale and other units like that, where Hatz really shines is his abilities to move around and his abilities to recover health. So let's talk a little bit about why he's so good. First off, it is almost imperative that people build his rapport to the max to get the accuracy and the evasion buff and all the swiftness along the way. Like, it's imperative to do this. You want to max that out. It's also very important to obviously push the proficiency to get the max proficiency, to get the extra stats, and of course his exclusive weapon. Now, where he really starts shining is in red. When he hits the red, like for free-to-play especially, you'll start noticing the difference. When he hits the red limit break in the pocket certificate, then everything else starts to come together a little more easily. He does require the faction gear, obviously, try to get him that, and then the exclusive weapon is bonus, obviously, right? Now, I think where the hate here is like, oh, he's a yellow unit, he really needs Evan to survive. Honestly, he doesn't. I mean, Evan makes everybody better, let's be real, but it's not a necessity for Hatz to do well. Every boss fight I've had, right? And I'm not talking about just using him. I'm talking about using any units together with him. So my buddy has Wagner Jaw maxed out, has Hatz maxed out, has Huayun maxed out, has Endorsi maxed out. I've used every single one of them in their respective best teams, and he's always outdamaged them. Granted, every single time it was with her on the team and with Bomb. But yellow does have the best support, and that just plays a big part in it, right? So for everybody who hates on Hatz, I think there needs to be a little bit of reconsideration on this. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, he does fall off after 16. That's also not true, because I've seen a lot of people who use him at like 18 and 19 are still using Hatz as one of the main DPS for their teams. Of course, those guys are massive whales now, and they've got most or SSR pluses almost maxed out, so they're doing more damage with like the lightning spear, Machini, right, and stuff like that, that's a whole different ball game. They've got S gear, they're all maxed out, everything. So then, of course, but for free to play, that's not the case right now, right? And it's important to note that because he's never really gonna not be useful as a character. So what makes him so good? Let's talk about the skills, right? So first off, runs towards the enemy to slash them in a fan-shaped area, dealing 890% and guarantees a critical hit and knockback. This does so much damage, and it's literally almost instantaneous. By the time he gets that opponent, the opponent's like stunned, done. Like you get knocked back if you don't die. You're stunned, you're knocked back, and you have to get up anyways, and it takes some time. And look at the amount of damage it does. Plus, it's guaranteeing a crit. So this percentage only takes into effect his attack, but not the crit damage that he also does as a multiplier. So this is an insane amount of damage done in a short period of time, and we're talking about very quick fan shape as well. So it can hit multiple enemies, not just one. All right, let's go to this one here. So Ghostfish Wheel Dance. Hatz strengthens his two-handed grip and slashes opponent in a straight line. The strike deals 540 of attack and guarantees a crit and jolts them. So not only a CC, but also a guaranteed crit. Again, don't fall for the 540. It does not take into account the crit damage multiplication on that percentage, right? So right away, doing way more damage than his counterparts. The only one that actually does, I'd say, more crit damage than him in crit is probably Wagner Job, but he's stationary, right? He's very stationary, and you need a lot more investment to see the same amount of shine in him because of his exclusive weapon swiftness. All right, moving on here now. Highest and lowest flying swords. A lot of this is his exclusive weapon is kind of affects this as well. Using both swords for one attack, Hatz employs the highest flying sword to block basic attacks and uses the lowest flying sword to do 400% to nearby enemies. Hatz's basic attack is increased by 300% for 10 seconds after using the skill. Watch it be a one-on-one, even with an opponent like Yuri, who's way more overpowered. He melts that shield so quick and destroys her, right? It's crazy how fast he does it. And then the survivability part right here. Hatz sees through the enemies with a sharp gaze at the start of the battle, increasing his crit rate by 16%. His swiftness increased by 40 for 5 seconds, and he recovers 8% of his max HP upon landing a crit. If you guys haven't noticed, every single move he does pretty much guarantees a crit, except for, I believe, this one. He's recovering health all the time. So that whole survivability issue, I've never seen a problem with him at the moment he hit red. I've not had that problem. So, I mean, like, listen, I might not be able to finish this. I'm going to see if I can do a little bit of growth. I'm a 14-4. I haven't been pushing a lot lately in the story because I've been covering multiple games. I'm just taking my time with this. I love this game, by the way. I'm just taking my time, enjoying it. I'm not worried about, in a server with Answer who's got 190 million power, I'm really not worried about getting placements anywhere right now. So, here, let me just get this up, and then we'll jump on to the quick battle. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about here, okay? So here, let's do this. Now, some of the other units you guys talked about, like Nare and stuff, I agree with those. Those definitely can be altered a bit. I'm not saying that I'm doing it now. I'll do it on the next tier list. I'm taking everything you guys saying into full consideration, guys. I want you guys to know this, that I truly do care deeply about all of your suggestions, and I'm absolutely looking back at them every time I make a tier list. That's why Karaka went up a tier, because a lot of people complained that he was too low at S. Maybe he was at S. So I put him in S plus because a lot of people were like, no, he's really useful still. So, and now I'm getting the pushback, right? A lot of people are saying, well, no, Karaka actually did deserve S because people are now ahead. So it's funny watching that dynamic change in the way people are viewing their characters now that they're higher up in the game. So I apologize for the lag here as well, by the way. So yes, Evan does help him a lot. I know people are saying that Evan obviously plays a big part in how good Hatz does play. Because Hatz has such high attack, Evan does conceal him in the beginning, giving him a lot more survivability. But I just want you guys to note, like, it's not just like, look, he's always the last one alive, right? Now, he might die here. He probably will. I've got 3 opponents here who are much higher than me. But look at the damage difference, right? If we look at everyone who's doing damage here, Hatz is blowing everyone out of the water. Now, to note, I don't have a really other damage dealer here in play, but even his own healing is really, really high. He's healing more than Evan's healing, right? So even though I lost, I just want to show you guys the difference here in how much damage, healing, and actual tanking he does. So he's really not as squishy as everyone is making him out to be. Now, as you get further into the game, of course, you need to dupe him more. Of course, you're going to need better gear. But that pretty much stands for almost all characters you play with, right? So here, let me just skip this. Sorry. So the bomb died too quickly there. That was unfortunate. So Let's see if I can replay it again and move the pacing a little bit and see if it makes a difference in terms of survivability, especially for Bomb here. I'm trying to keep him alive a little longer, but it's not that easy. So let's see. And I've tried Hawaii in here, by the way. She's I know she's not like here. I'll even show you guys. I'll put her in. Okay, because she does have the faction advantage. Obviously, she just dies too quick. Unfortunately, that's the only part that sucks for her. Because mine's not. I mean, I've been summoning for her nonstop. I've had almost 100 summons. And no, not gonna. I think 70 maybe. I'm close to the 100 mark now, and I haven't been able to get the second copy for her yet, or third copy, I should say, so I can get her a blue version, right? But here, let me just show you guys what I'm talking about here. Watch. Haryun pretty much dies instantly here, so that's what I'm talking about. Like it's useless, but look, like he recovers so much health on his own. Evan died there. Hat's still alive, obviously. Let's see if we can how we do here. I don't think we're gonna do very well. We're gonna probably die fairly quickly, but it's worth just showing you guys at least a little bit of more survivability tactics, right? I'll change this team up a bit and get this done later today, but look at that. It's one versus 3, 1 versus 4 now, right? I mean, look, he's still holding his own for fairly long. So it's not like a matter of like he sucks and he's not doing well and he's too squishy. He still survives longer than anybody else does. The only problem is I mean, it's almost a little over double my power, which again is not really the end of the world. I think it's just, I'm just not, I just gotta work better on my teams. But yeah, I just want to talk about that. So all the hat haters out there, honestly, man, like I don't think it's really that justifiable. Like you guys can say there are better characters out there, and there are arguments for that, absolutely. But I think to just say he sucks is, I think, a little crazy. So I just want to kind of talk about that real quick because I'm finding a lot more of that is happening where people are like, oh, he sucks, and then I'm like, you guys are out of your minds. Here, I know what the problem is right now. One sec. Let me fix this up. Let's do this. So yeah, I think it's a little bit unfair for people to be judging him based on his, first off, 0 dupes, and secondly, I think for those who are saying at 16 plus he falls off, I've got evidence from people who are past 16 plus to say that's not the case at all. So again, I just want to talk about Hatz and why all the hate and kind of defend him a little bit because I think he deserves a little bit of defense. Oh, Evan just got rocked there. And yeah, so I think, guys, cut the guy some break. I mean, cut him some slack. Cut him some breaks. Cut him some slack. I don't think he's as bad as you guys are giving him all the hate for. And honestly, I feel like if you have been duping him and leveling him up, you guys can see how good he really is. If you haven't been, a lot of people talk a lot of shit, right? Just test for yourself. That's what I've been doing. I've honestly been testing for myself. All these characters I've talked about, I'm testing on my friend's account. Just because I want to see, like, hey, like, what's the better investment? And I have to say, between the 4 characters that I just mentioned that are DPS, that are not SSS plus, or SSR plus, sorry, I'm still sticking with Hatz being the best one out of all of them. Feel free to roast me as much as you want or talk about it as much as you want. I think it's a great conversation to have either way. But right now, I just don't see everybody's hate on him and why it's happening. Anyways, guys, this is Payne. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to try to finish the stage and move on, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.